Right, let's get into a few news items. Not many, some interesting ones. Michigan House of Representatives declined to extend Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Zeke Heil, state of emergency another 28 days, and instead voted on Thursday to sue her. Whitmer's initial state of emergency order, which is separate from the stay-at-home order, expires on Thursday and requires legislative action to be lengthened. Now, negotiations on that front fell apart on Wednesday when Whitmer refused to make any concessions on the matter, asserting she has the ultimate control of emergencies. Really? So the House voted to authorize Speaker Lee Chatfield to sue the governor, saying Whitmer's unchecked and undemocratic approach is not the best way, and the current status quo relies on a one-size-fits-all edicts that unfairly punish millions of people across the state without giving them any recourse or voice in the process, Chatfield said. And he or she, the people deserve a better solution and we can provide it. Now, the House also passed a resolution restricting a governor's state of emergency declaration to 14 days. Whitmer has vowed to veto that legislation, and hundreds of protesters gathered outside the Capitol and demanded the state be reopened. We want Michigan open. We want Michigan back to work, said Jason Howland, who's one of the protest organisers. Interesting tidbit and coincidence, or is it coincidence, that remdesivir, Remdesivir, is made by Gilead or Gilead, and is the cure for COVID-19. And here is where it gets interesting. China holds the patent on the drug through an agreement with Gilead drug patent sharing subsidiary branch called Unitaid, the UN, who has an office coincidentally near Wuhan. And you'll never guess who are the main financial investors in that place. Unitaid. None other than George Soros, Bill and Melinda Gates, and the World Health Organization. And I know what you're all thinking. It's all just a coincidence, isn't it? But then there's further coincidences that Gilead and Unitaid were financial supporters of Hillary Clinton. And if there's any doubts, there's one more coincidence. Fauci was one of the authorizing millions to be sent to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, specifically for the study of coronaviruses. All just a coincidence. Nothing to see here. It's all a conspiracy theory, so we'll all move along. Not. Landlords in Venice are calling Los Angeles City Councilman Mike Bonin exploitative and predatory after Bonin and pitched a proposal to use federal stimulus money to buy up distressed properties that go belly up and turn them around into housing for the homeless. They use that will doing something for the homeless whilst they collect assets on the cheap. And Bonin made the comment during a teleconference last week, saying, I intend to on putting in another proposal in the next week or two that asks the city to look at the federal bailout or stimulus funds we'll be getting as a result of this crisis and use some of that to either buy hotels or distressed properties that are absolutely going to be on the market at cheaper prices after this crisis is over. No surprise, California is only a close second to New York for snake oil salesmen. I saw that a map of America this week of where the bulk of the so-called COVID-19 events were. All the usual places where money is harvested from the people, and snake oil salesmen are most prolific. Yes, California. Yes, New York. Yes, Connecticut. Yes, Washington. Yes, Chicago. Yes, Texas. And yes, Florida. The rest of the country is practically empty of cases. So why did they report it there? Because they're the ones that are going to put the hand in the cookie jar and take all the funds out. It's what those particular states do. Because the ones that run them are all bogus. So Bannon said and used that as a homeless and affordable housing. Well, why didn't you do that before? And it's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper to purchase stuff that is already there and move people in there than if we start from scratch, really. And he said the city has a unique opportunity right now to use federal funds, so they'll ask for more money. Those states I've just mentioned all take all the pot. That's how it works in this country. To quickly get people on the streets housed. Well, what have you done in the past 2 decades to help the homeless? Zero. But now here's a snake oil opportunity to buy up loads of houses on the cheap and make it out that they're going to put homeless in. Wasn't it? Didn't we do a piece last year about California not helping the homeless, actually refusing? But now, when there's money to be had, we'll make it look like we're claiming for the homeless. They're not interested. Corrupt LA, just like New York, and taking advantage of the situation for their own illicit gains, no doubt run by Feinstein and co. She's in trouble. It's not in this show, but she's in trouble for her China connections. And here's the spin-off of this fake lockdown. People are getting killed. Calvin Munnerlyn, who worked hard to provide for his family as a security guard at a Family Dollar in Flint, who was a father of 9, was gunned down after turning a customer away for trying to enter the store without a mask. On Monday, Genesee County Prosecutor David Layton charged 3 suspects in the murder, and a 45-year-old Sharmel Teague, 44-year-old Larry Edward Teague Jr., and 23-year-old Ramon Yaya Bishop. And the prosecutor said decisions like stay at home when we can, wearing a mask when going to the store, and staying a safe distance from those around us, these should not be political arguments. and they do not necessitate excuse me, acts of defiance, and we simply cannot devolve into an us versus them mentality. But the gist of this is, you must wear the mask, because the government said they would keep you safe. The question remains is, if the masks keep you safe, why are they concerned with people who don't? And if masks are essential to all people's health, why aren't politicians wearing them, or portal people, or agency-based clowns, or military generals, or the scientists that come up to the Trump podium? Not one of them are wearing a mask. Cops pulling people up, no mask. Are they somehow different? And if these masks and the government are about keeping you safe, why isn't there a mandatory mask wearing lesson to be observed during flu season in all hospitals, doctors, dentists, or clinics? Far more people die of flu each year, and yet if the government and these masks work, why haven't they implemented them before during the flu season in those locations? And if vaccines work, why are they concerned about an unvaccinated person? And why, with all the research and medical expertise, have they not come up with a safe bacteria spray for people to spray in their mouths when required, like they have for bad breath? I wonder why. Because they're not interested in our health is why. And at this point, if they made vaccines voluntary, you all know many will take it. And you know what? At some point, we have to let them take their City of Light pills and move on. Helping others who won't help themselves becomes an abject lesson in frustration as they repeat the same shit over and over again, and nobody asks the questions.